Welcome to another SolidWorks video. This will be regarding sheet metal. So let's see why I think that Solid is really good for this workbench. I'm gonna start with something simple. So initially I'm just gonna make a profile over here, something like this, and I will make it on the other side, so symmetrically. I could have go ahead and created this using mirror, but I will just set them like this. So I want this to be equal. I want those also to be equal. I want the two vertical elements to also be equal. Let's say maybe I want this to be 200 millimeters. We're gonna set everything will be rescaled 120. I'm gonna make this 60, and in this case I'm gonna make this 20. So I still need to center this, so I will select that edge, I will select origin, I will make this midpoint. Now I'm gonna go within sheet metal. If you don't have this workbench, you can activate over here. So underneath tabs, you're gonna find it over here. And using this profile, I'm gonna go and define a base flange in this case. Let's say that I want the thickness of the material to be 3 millimeters and the radius 3, and I want this to go 120 millimeters over here. Now this will be the profile, and now let's say that I want to close this side over here. I can do that using edge flange over here. I can select that I want to raise this edge, and I can specify that I want to go up to, for example, this vertex. This will automatically change the flange length to be up to vertex, as we can see it over here. Now it's important to define the flange position over here, because by default, if I'm just going to click OK, this will be set over here within material inside. If I will click that, we're going to see that SolidWorks will actually give us a notification that this part will self-intersect after the bend operation. So we have the flattened part like this. After we're going to bend it according to the 3D model over here, we're going to have the following problem. So in order to deal with this, we have, for example, this position over here, which will be material outside. And this will give us over here another self-intersection, as we can see. But in this case, I can also go with the following one, which will be bend outside. And you're going to see this will actually take the material a bit outwards. And we're going to have the following result over here. Now, let's say that I want to close these sides over here a little bit better. So we can do that underneath corners. We're going to have the close corner feature. I can select one face onto one side, and Solid will automatically try to find how to fix those, how to fill them. And in this case, I can go with overlap. We're also going to have in this case this option over here, which is called butt. This will be the first one. And we're going to have also underlap. So we're going to see that underlap will extend that one. But in this case, if I'm going to go with the one in the middle, overlap, it will extend that one. So in this case, I'm going to go with that. I can do the same onto the other side. So I can go over here, close corners. I can select those. We have over here a gap. So the gap is currently set to 0.10 millimeters. I can just hit OK. And now we're going to have that closed. If I'm going to flatten this, this will be the output. And we already see that we have that additional segment over here added. We can go ahead and we can measure that. Using evaluate, we're going to see that this will be a total of 1.9 millimeters. You could also go directly on the edge and Solid will give you the length. So similar to the measurement that I previously have done over here. Now let's say that I want this top part to be close to the one that we defined, so that we're going to have this a little bit better closed. In order to do that, we have the possibility to move that faces. So we're going to find over here with the insert, we're going to see over here that for faces, we're going to have move. And with this selected, I'm going to go ahead and I want that face, the next one. And as you can see over here, a total of 4 faces I'm going to select. SolidWorks will give me various selections, as you saw over there. So if I'm going to select this as well, I'm going to see that it will try to auto-complete that, for me. But in this case, it will not select as I want. So I only want those faces over here I should have one additional on the middle, and I want them to be moved closer over here. So I can go to translate, and over here we're going to see the direction will be X, and if I'm going to add over here 1.9 because we know that will be the distance, we're going to be up to that part. So if I'm going to hit OK, you're going to see it will look like this. Now if I'm going to flatten this, we're going to have the following flatten part. If you want, you can also leave a small gap over there, because now if I'm going to go within a section, within that region, we're going to see that we actually do have a small gap. So I can click OK over here, and if you're going to go ahead and measure that, so within evaluate, I'm going to go for measure, and I want the distance between those two, and we're going to have the same 0.1 distance in this case that we also applied to the sides over here when we close that corner. Now, if you want to make this look a little bit better, you can also consider to add some fillets. So we can go over here within fillet. I know that that was in this case 3, and I can add that as well over here. So we're going to see that with a radius of 3 it will look like this. In this case it was actually more than 3. So if I'm going to click like this with 4, we're going to have the following fillet. If I'm going to go on the base flange, we're going to see over here that these were the default settings, as we can see them. So in this case, the bent radius was 2. That means over here for this fillet, we're going to have that radius. So with 2, it will be like this. If I'm going to go with 8, for example, we're going to see that it will be the following. So in this case, a lot larger than the other one. But if I'm going to go with 4, in this case, it will be like this. Now, it's still not exactly the same. So as you can see, if I'm going to add 2 over here, it will be like this. So if I will select this and I will go within evaluate and I want to measure that, we're going to see that actually this radius over here will be 5. So in order to make our part similar over here, if I'm going to go directly with 5, this will be the output. And in this case, if I will have this flatten, we're going to see that it will look as following. So this is the final result. And when we have all the bands applied to the part, we're going to reach this point where we're going to maintain that 0.1 gap over there and over here as well. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this kind of content. I'm going to add additional videos for SolidWorks, for sheet metal design, for solid tools, and also for surface design. So if you want to learn additional tips and tricks within Solid, consider to subscribe for additional videos. Okay, so that's it. Thanks for watching.